I'm so excited that this week is going to be a week when I talk all things eyeshadow palettes. So every day this week, I'm going to be posting lots of content featuring my eyeshadow palettes and talking to you about them in various ways and all the ways that I love them, etc. If you like project panning content, this might be a really great place for you to explore. My channel devotes to project panning and just mindful consumerism, so I would love for you to consider subscribing before I get started. And my name is Amy, and if you haven't heard, it's my birthday month. So I would really love if you would just kind of like click that subscribe button to help make my birthday wish come true, to reach 600 subscribers by the end of July. So thank you so much for helping me reach that goal. Let's go ahead and get started by talking about all of my eyeshadow palettes. This is going to be my mid-year eyeshadow palette inventory. I have them kind of grouped between like older palettes, middle-aged palettes, and the newer palettes that I have bought this year. So here is my stack of older palettes. So let's go ahead and talk about them. I'll talk about which one I know is my oldest, and that is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina eyeshadow palette. I got this, I believe, in 2021, maybe, around the springtime. And it was my first endeavor into just a little bit of color because I really am a neutral wearer. And so I felt like this was just a great opportunity for me to be able to start to play with color a little bit, but in a safe way. And I have come to find that that is so true with this palette and so much more. I really love the way that this palette is great for all year long, between the spring pinks and purples and the fall like browns and mauvey kind of dusty rose tones. It's a really, really great palette I am working on in my modified Pan That palette. And if you have this palette, I would love for you to just get it out and go ahead and use it, because I don't think you can get it anymore and like on their website or like Ulta or Sephora. So get this palette out and leave me a comment to let me know what is your favorite shade in this palette. Next up, one of the older ones that I have is the Persona Identity palette. This is the Identity 1 palette, and it was my first endeavor into kind of cooler tones because I generally lean more towards a warmer toned eyeshadow look. So this one was my first endeavor to cool tones and kind of maybe some neutral tones. And because it's not my normal like comfort zone and as far as colors are concerned, it's definitely not one of my most used palettes, but I do really enjoy having it in my collection, and it is a wonderful palette. The quality of these shadows are amazing. The mattes are so creamy and smooth and blendable, as are the kind of like satin shimmer type shades, but it also offers a lot of variety in the way of like one shadow looks. I really like to use Seductive. That's a pretty cool one shadow look. Gold Digger, really cool one shadow look. I really do enjoy having Identity, even though she's not one of my most used, but I do plan on using her as one of my focus palettes for the month of August. So she'll get some more love in a couple of weeks, she will. Next was my first Huda Beauty palette, and I had gotten the new nude palette. I think after I had gotten Norvina, I was ready to kind of like branch into some more color, but again, kind of like safe color. And this eyeshadow palette really kind of fit that bill for me. I don't really use these like overtly glitter shades, but I find that the berries in this eyeshadow palette really complement my green eyes. So if you have green eyes, this is a really great palette to help complement your eye color. And I also like that some of these are like cooler tones, but they really don't make me feel like I'm wearing cool tones. So I really do think that it makes me happy with my eyeshadow look whenever I wear these mattes and the shimmers. And I have to be kind of careful with these that have like the flake stuff in them, because the flakes can get to be like creating some fallout But overall, I'm really happy with this palette. And you can even try to get a little bit of a brownish look with this. It does still have a tint, like a hint of pink to it. One of my all-time favorites in my whole collection is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. And I feel like this is just a really great palette for all year long, but I tend to use it in the spring and summer times, mostly because of the smell. And even though I've had this for a couple of years, it still has a really lovely smell and it still performs really amazingly. I like using this in a variety of ways where I can do like a simple look, or I can really take some of these deeper tones and build out my outer corner, like the outer V part of my eyes, to create more depth and more interest. And one of my really favorite one shadow looks is in this eyeshadow palette, and it is Georgia. Georgia has just a really lovely brown tone, but they're kind of these like satins are really great because you can blend them out. They're not glittery at all, which really helps to facilitate the one shadow look. So Too Faced Sweet Peach, I really couldn't get enough of this, and if I, you know, maybe in another video you're going to hear more about this one as being one of my top faves. It will definitely be around as often as I can, and if you have this eyeshadow palette, I encourage you to get it out and use it, because I don't think you can get this one anymore either. It's such a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. So go give it some love if you haven't. And one that I love, but you can't get this because it's a NARS limited edition, was the Summer Unrated palette. And this is my only NARS palette and my first endeavor into NARS eyeshadows. And I feel like this was, what was that one? Anastasia's Soft Glam, but better to me, at least in my mind with my Soft Glam. Maybe it was kind of getting older, and so it wasn't really like performing exactly like I wanted it to, but the pinks in this one performed better than the pinks in that one. So I had decluttered that one several years ago and destroyed it. That was lots of fun. But this eyeshadow palette also offers a really great variety of a little color, safe color for me, but also simply easy browns to work with. And I am using this one in my Project Level Up, which is going very slowly, but this is the palette that I really am trying to focus on for the month of July. So I'm really hoping I will be able to continue to reach my Project Level Up goals, which is 2 more pans, because I got to reach 3 pans, and I already have 1 in here, so I need 2 more pans. And that is hopefully going to be the next one. Anyway, it's a really great palette, and I like the fact that the shimmers are very satiny and very easy to like work with and smooth, and not like chunky and like super glittery. This one is the most glittery one that you'll have in that palette. Now let's go ahead and move on to some of the ones that are the middle-aged palettes, just like their mom. This one is my ColourPop Lust for Dusk palette, and even though this has like warm tones, I really am not gravitated towards this palette, and I don't want to get rid of it because I want to learn to love it, but for some reason I'm just having a really hard time gravitating towards it. I think maybe in the fall I'll be able to get some really good use out of it. It might be something that I reach for like in September. I do like the fact that it has a good variety of directions that you can go. You can go a berry direction, you can go an orangey direction, a brown direction, maybe even a little bit of a cool direction with these 3 shades, and then this shimmer right here, which is Night Lovers, is also a really great cool tone. So maybe that's why I have a hard time with it, because it has cool and warm tones, and my brain just like is like can't compute. So I don't know, but I don't want to get rid of it because I do like it and I do want to get some use out of it. So it's definitely one of my least used eyeshadow palettes, but not ready to let go of her yet. Next, I have Tarte Maneater, which I bought in the fall a couple of years ago. So I associate this eyeshadow palette with fall, and it does have a lot of really great fall colors in it. But as you can see, especially in this bottom row, it does have a lot of pinks and purples in it. So I feel like this is good for all year round too, although my brain really kind of wants to use it in the summer and fall time. Summer is going to be really great with these like yellow orangey colors to kind of create just sunset kind of look, adding that in there. I feel like this is a really great palette for really all year long, variety of occasions. You can go very easy with it, glam it up a little bit if you want to. One thing though about this one too is I do have to be just a little careful with some of these like shimmer shades because they do have a little bit of fallout. So I try to be really careful when I'm using them. Maybe even using a glitter glue with this one might help with that. Okay, next I do vividly remember I got these last year around my birthday time in July, and they are some of my all-time favorites, including this one, which is my favorite, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cosmos palette. And it is one of the very few palettes, like eyeshadow palettes, that if I had to rebuy this, I would. And I really have thought about that because for some reason this one has really gone through the ringer. I have hardly any of this shade left because I've dropped this and it's cracked, like it's crumbled. This one's Sun. When I first got it last year, my daughter was like sticking her finger in it and like so she could like look at the shade and stuff, and she pressed too hard because these shimmers are really soft. So this one has a really big dent in it, on top of the fact that it is one of my favorite shades ever, so I use it a lot too. So I just have to be really careful with this one. But the thing that this one really did for me was this is a lot even more color than I was used to. I really kind of wanted to like embrace some blues, embrace some of these multi-chrome like purpley, pink, orangey colors. I really kind of wanted to dive into this, which this is really the thing that about this palette that's so special to me is you can take this dark shade right here, Dark Matter, and you know it's dark, but I'm going to build it up for you. And then you can take, let's do this one right here. This shade is Supernova, and so here is Supernova. If you were to just put that on your eyelid all by itself, it's so beautiful. Pink, blue, purple. But then when you put it on top of this base right here, this darker base, look at that. And it just completely transforms these shadows. And I love playing around with that. So much so that I did a whole bunch of shorts just dedicated to this palette, and I'll link that playlist for you below. But there's just something really, really special about this one. And you can really go easy, or you can really ham it up without much effort. So it's really one of my favorites. Another favorite that I have is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This one's Rose Metals, and Rose Metals is my favorite season in an eyeshadow palette. I love fall so much, and I also did kind of a study of this palette and created a lot of really cool fall themed, leaf themed eyeshadow looks last fall, and I did I created a playlist with that. But it's just grungy and dark, but yeah, approachable to me. You have some berry tones mixed in there. You've got the oranges from the leaves and the dirty greens from the leaves and the browns from the leaves, and it just really is so beautiful. And I really do love depth and dimension that I get from this. During that birthday month, I had gotten 4 new eyeshadow palettes. Those 2 Anastasia palettes, and then these next 2 Huda palettes. I decided it was finally time for me to get Rose Quartz, and I think there was a sale going on from Rose Quartz and Naughty Nude, which I'll show you in a second. So I went ahead and got those. And this, even though it's like kind of these cool tones, purples, and like this one right here, which is like purpley blue pinky color, I really feel like I love every eyeshadow look that I do with this. And one of my favorite shades in my collection is actually this one right here, which looks gray, but it's actually not. This is Abundance from Rose Quartz, and Abundance is actually a silvery purple color. And that really complements my green eyes so nicely. So I love in this palette that I can kind of go a little brown, I can go a little pink, I can get a little purple, and I can get many looks. I can kind of even jazz it up a little bit with some of these deeper tones, and I can get a variety of different things with one eyeshadow look. And they're cool tone, which helps to branch me out and stretch myself a little bit as a makeup user. But right in my comfort zone is Naughty Nude, and Naughty Nude is browns and mauves and berry tones, and she's just here for glistening your eyeballs. I love this palette so much too. I haven't given it quite as much love as I think that I should have, but I do plan on using this more in the fall. I've kind of really been trying to purposely focus on the ones that are, in my mind, a little springier. And something like this will definitely be like a September, October, November kind of palette for me. But some of my favorite shades in here as far as shimmers are Please Me. I need to get a clean finger here. Please Me, which is just a really nice goldeny pink color. And Irresistible is just a lovely, like, glassy pink color. This one is really nice. And again, a variety of looks that you can create from just one palette. Now I'm so happy to share with you the eyeshadow palettes that I've bought this year. I feel like each one of them adds something extra to my eyeshadow palette collection, something different, especially some of the ones that I'm going to show you that have greens. So this is one that I had kind of impulse purchase bought, off a recommendation from Jessica Braun in one of her eyeshadow palette videos, and it's the CoverGirl Clean Color Clean Fresh. This is the set of Dreamy Pink. There's a Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk quad that I have wanted for a really long time, and I feel like this is kind of the essence of that at a much lower price tag. I love the fact that this is so simple, but I really love my looks. I can go with like one or two shadows. I can do a look with all of them, and the rosiness of this really does complement my eye color again really well. And I love the fact that I don't have to think about my look, but I get a complete look from it. That's a very well loved and will get much use out of my palette, in my palette collection. This is the newest one. I just bought this yesterday as a birthday gift to myself. I have a whole bunch of things, and I'm wearing it today on my eyes. It's the Natasha Denona Mini Starlit palette, and when you look at this, it really doesn't look like much, but wow, I love my eyeshadow look today. This shade right here, whatever this is, it is called Rhea, I think. Wow, Rhea, I'm trying to find clean fingers. Rhea is just a perfect warm golden color, kind of copper. That's what it is. It's a very coppery color, and I feel like that just laid down on my eyes. Wow, so amazing. And then these colors right here don't look like brown, kind of like this, but they go really nicely with that copper color. And then this is kind of a peachy pink color, and it goes together with it. So I don't know, to me, when you look at it and just in the, you know, in the thing, it does not look like any of this would go together, but somehow it all goes together and it all works. And again, it's a lot like this one, where even though there's not a lot of shades in it, it's pretty basic, I can get a complete eyeshadow look from this and be really happy with my eyeshadow look. I don't have to think about it too hard. It just happens, and I love that for easy everyday things. But this year I did want to start kind of branching out into color. I've seen on Instagram so many people using this eyeshadow palette that I just finally decided I'm going to get it. And it is the ColourPop a Star Wars Mandalorian the Child palette. And again, for me, it's color in a safe way. These greens really do pop on my eyes, and the browns kind of help keep me in that safe zone. This is just a really great way for me to be able to wear some color, wear a different color, because I have not very much of green, but I can also kind of bring it back home with some of the browns as well. And I've really been enjoying this one a lot. That one's really good. And because I wanted to attempt to try Natasha Denona, I ended up with 2 Natasha Denona palettes this year. And keeping along the theme of the green, Ulta had a crazy good sale on this one day. And I think the next day they didn't have it on their website anymore. So I'm not sure if they're not offering it there anymore. But it's the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, which again has a lot of this green color but some browns to kind of like bring it on home. But for me, someone like me, I'm just kind of like branching out with color just a little bit at a time. These 2 colors are really different for me. I can really get out of my comfort zone with these 2, and by using them as liners, using this one as inner corner. I think I've used this one even to kind of like deepen up my outer V. And I don't know that I have an orange that's this color. So this eyeshadow palette really did help add something to my makeup collection, which is allowing me to continue on this journey of color. And I love the formula. I'm very happy with the different finishes of the shimmers in here, and I do have to use a glitter glue with this, otherwise it's going places. But once I use the glitter glue, she's all good and it stays in one place. So I'm very happy with that one. And then the last eyeshadow palette that I have bought this year was the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. And I just really wanted to try Natasha's formula. Again, I had bought the Mini Love palette and I really didn't like it a lot. I don't think the color story was quite for me. Also, I didn't like the formula. So I've been scared for years on whether or not I was going to invest in one of these and give it a go. And I just decided one day to go ahead and pull the trigger. And I love this so much. Again, these sort of like rosy pink tones, orangey, rosy pink, really complement my eye color. And I am also, again, someone that likes the warm tones, but this does lean a little cooler. I feel like this really helps me to be able to wear some cool tones that I like and that I think complement my complexion and my eye color and all of that, whereas the Persona Identity isn't quite that for me. This one does a much better job of giving me the cool tones but making me happy with what my eye look looks like at the end of the day. That is my makeup collection. Those are the 16 eyeshadow palettes that I own, and there's a few of them that I, might find a new home by the end of the year, but overall I'm really happy with each one of them. I feel like each one of them gives me something, and even though I have bought 2, 4, 5 eyeshadow palettes this year, each one of them is something different than what I have and benefits me in some way. And they were, for the most part, well thought out purchases on my part. They're something that I wanted for a really long time, that I've seen other people using, and I've thought about them, and I decided to get them. So I hope that you liked this video, and let me know how many eyeshadow palettes you own, which ones are your favorite, which ones would you declutter if you could. So thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Go ahead and subscribe and turn notifications on. I'm going to have all kinds of palette themed content all week long. See you later. Bye.